Hey guys, how you doing? It is me, Masood, back again with another video and another week. On this week's episode, we're going to be talking about Sega and what they could do if they were to come back with another games console in 2019. Let's get into it. Apex Legends has just come out and trying to overtake Fortnite as being probably a market leader in the gaming department right now, as probably the most talked about and the most hyped game. In fact, I think Ninja actually got paid $1 million to play Apex Legends for his YouTube channel. So there's a lot of money to be made, and the business is very lucrative for those playing and those who are wanting to get into it as well. But you would need a little bit of cash to make yourself a name for it, which I think Sega have plenty of, by the way. They're still around, they're still a company, and they wouldn't be around if they didn't have cash. So they must have some cash coming in. So let's get into it, and let's take away the design element of this. You know, I'm not particularly a good designer, or I'm not even particularly a designer anyways by nature. But let's say they got a console, right? Ready, boom, bam, boom. Or they've got a gaming system that they want to release. How do they market it in the current climate in 2019? Because this is not 2000, this is not 1999, this is not 2001, this is not 1994 anymore. This is not the old days where you could just put something out on a press release in a magazine and just hope that it would sell. Or you could just go to a conference and then, you know, with TV distribution, you know, hope that would sell. That was a good model back then. Why? Because distribution and the attention lied within the TV industry. That's where all the eyes were. Now all our eyes are on our phones. We need to understand, or Sega needs to understand, how they can get the eyes on the prize, and the prize would be the new gaming console, hypothetically speaking. Personally, what I would do for Sega if they were to release a gaming console was, of course, I would use the blueprint. Understand their target audience first and foremost. Is it younger demographic? Is it an older demographic? They have to understand that if it was a younger demographic, then they're going to get more out of it, get more sales. We've seen the success of Fortnite, of them having a younger base, playful nature to their game, and a lot of kids play it, a lot of grown-ups play it as well, and you know, it's well received across all ages. So need to figure out who the target market is first, and I think the target market should be the younger demographic, people who are aged 13 to 16 year olds as their core audience, their core base. Not even 13 to 16, I think from 7 to 16, 7 to 14, let's say 7 to 14, that 7-year gap, that should be their ideal target core market. Because with these guys, once they play that type of game, it's like a train almost. Like, I can't think of anything else to describe it as. Train is like the first thing that's coming in my mind. Let's take it as like an actual as a generational phase. Like, these kids are going to play at 7 years old this game, and then all the way till they're 14, and then the next batch is going to come in, and depending on the popularity of the game and how, you know, user friendly it is, older people might be able to play it. That's what happened to Fortnite. I mean, Fortnite came out as a game for, you know, let's be honest, it's not really the goriest. It doesn't really, you know, just looking off the back of it and initial first impressions is quite the game just takes the piss, right? You know, it's nothing serious to be taken out of the game apart from the competitive element, and any outside person looking in would think that, okay, this game is clearly not for people who are over the age of 18. This game is clearly for people who are of a younger demographic and have a sense of humor like that. So I think with Sega, I think the target market should be of a younger demographic, because there's incredible amount of word of mouth action. You know, these kids are really heavy on social media. These kids, you know, anything that's popular, viral, that can grab attention will go quick in that demographic, from what studies have shown. You know, I don't even know what studies show this, but just from my own hunch, I think that's what would happen if they were to target a younger demographic. Not to say an older demographic or wouldn't do that, but I think there's more of a virality aspect with targeting a younger scheme. You know, these guys, they just play it a lot more. That's what all these kids do. They just want to stay on their iPads, on their phones, and play a game that is that they're able to play with their friends, and that's what allows people to build trust, connection, and also a virality aspect, because you're spreading across to other people as well. You have that multiplayer capability in within the game. Now, like I said, I don't want to go too deep into the game. I think as far as marketing is concerned, market research is key. They should identify the target market. The next step would be understand what type of content they want to put out, and what type of social channels they want to use. I don't know if they actually have an Instagram. Let's Sega do have an Instagram. Wow. They do, and they got pretty decent interaction on it as well. So they're not completely out of the picture. You know, they got interaction. It seems like from the Instagram they're still taking the retro model. They got like the old Sonic the Hedgehog on there, and you know, stuff like that. I think personally, you know, they've got the game. Let's say they've got the game. They've got the game. Whatever that game is, they've got the game. It's got great multiplayer aspects. It's got a core target audience of a younger demographic of say 7 to 14-year-olds. They've got content of that particular game. You know, clips of that game being played, and you know, that entertaining clips that allows people. For example, if you got a new game or you got a new app, this goes out to all my app people, all the people that in like a new technology phase. The main thing is not the design. I'm gonna be honest with you. Design is key to make it look, brand it, and make it look nice, and you know, have a certain key thing about it. But I think the main thing for you guys right now in the tech space or the app space, or if you're a new startup app, you need to know, or you need to get people on using your app. You need to get people using your app. That's the main thing. That's the only thing you guys should worry about. How many people are actively using your app? And you need to do that by motivating people, or triggering people, or promoting people, giving people a reason to use your app. You can't just put it out there and do a nice quirky little design and expect anyone to download it. Yes, Facebook marketing is key. I'm not here to talk about Facebook marketing. I'm not a genius at that. I'm just talking about what I know. As far as Instagram marketing, as far as content marketing, as far as branding online, you need to put content out there that your target audience wants to see, and also promotes them and prompts them to give them a reason to download the app. Go through that whole struggle. You know, we live in such a, you know, blessed era where the struggle of downloading app is like one of the things that we worry about. But they need to go through that whole long struggle of taking about 5 minutes max to download your app, and then sign in, and then start using it. You need to encourage them that much. Your advertising needs to be on point that much. Your branding needs to be on point that much for them to be encouraged, to be motivated to download your app and actively use it. That's the one thing you guys need to worry about. Forget all that funny business about how much funds you want to raise, even though that is important. Forget about your next round, forget about your design, forget about all this stuff. Yes, your design looks nice. Every app that's coming out looks nice. That's the standard. That's the standard thing. Looking nice is the standard. So don't worry about that if that is something that people expect already from a new app. That's what people already expect, you know. The main thing, and I'm telling you guys this, I'm not in the app space, but I've worked with apps in the past. The main thing for any business, any new app, any new tech startup, any new website, any new gaming console game, you need to get people playing your app. You need to get people using your app. You need to get people using it, actively using it, being part of the community aspect. That is the main thing. You know, and you know what bugs me the most is I think people know this, but they don't act on it. You know what I'm saying? You know what you need to do. You know you need to get users on this app, but you're not actively using it. You're not actively targeting the issue head on. So what I would do if I was starting an app, or if I was working with this tech startup and they needed people to get on their app, to get on their website, or for example with Sega, to help them download their game and play the game actively, I would create long form bits of content, whether that be someone, if for example, let's take a game for example, someone playing the game, and there's a moment in that game which allows people to be really engaged. For example, I don't know, it could be a nice collateral headshot, for example, or You know, any moment you make a long bit of content, you take moments out of that long form content, and then you promote that, you put that piece of short content on your Instagram page, and then you use influencer marketing, whether that be gaming influencers, gaming groups, Twitch streamers, to get eyes on that short form of content. Because the more eyes you have on that short form of content, the more people will be interested where the original clip came from, and then they'll start digging deep into where the original clip came from. And when they see how engaging your game is, how engaging your app is through that long form bit of content, they're going to be more promoted, or they're going to be more motivated to download the app and use it for themselves. I'm telling you, it works. It's a model that will take time, to finesse and fine tune for your own brand. Oh shit. It will take time to promote for your own brand, but once you understand what look you want, forget the look. Once you understand how you want things to appear on the long form content, once you understand the style of your short form content, once you get a run of influencers going that are direct to your target audience, target market, and you promote on there at scale, I'm telling you guys, you are on to a winner. I'm telling you straight up, I'm not an expert in tech brands, but I do know marketing, and I do know what matters in any type of business is the fact that you need customers if you're a brick and mortar, you need users if you're a tech app or you're a website. You need people visiting your app, you need people actively using it. And the best way to do that, in my humble opinion, is to create a long form piece of content. That long form piece of content will be contextual depending on your app, depending on what type of app it is. If it's a sports app, maybe you need a little bit more action. Maybe you need to document behind the scenes of a particular sports session. Maybe you need to show how the app can be used in a particular setting. Or if it's like a news app, for example, maybe you need to show people reacting to news on your app. It just needs to be, or it could be a podcast. You need to show your app, or you need to show your online tech startup thing in a situation where your target audience would most be able to use it, if that makes sense. So for example, like if you're a banking app, you would not put out a piece of content that's related to, I don't know, you won't put out a podcast talking about root beer. That's random, right? Like if you're a banking app, why the hell would you put out root beer related content on a podcast? Like that's completely alien. Maybe I'm not making any sense, but maybe I am making sense. What I'm trying to say, guys, is make contextual long form content, whether that be a vlog, podcast, something like that, on your particular app, around the subject of your particular app, around the lifestyle or the experience your particular app will portray, and you want that experience to be relatable for your target audience. You need to create content like that, and then take out moments in those long form pieces of content that have like that, that wow factor, that show people that people you can put on short form content platforms like Instagram, like Twitter, like Snapchat, that let people get the message straight away within 10 seconds, within 3 seconds, within the first 3 seconds. You need to let people get the message straight away within those short form bits of content that you put out, that allow people to be like that. The main thing with these short form bits of content is to raise brand awareness. You need to raise brand awareness for your tech app, your tech startup, your whatever the case may be, anything tech. You need to raise awareness. You're new in the market, no matter how unique your brand is, how unique your message is, how unique whatever service you're providing, you need to put it in front of people that would most likely download your particular app. So I mean, personally, yeah, that's what I would do. I would make a contextual long form bit of content, pluck bits out of it, short bits out of it for shorter form bits of content. And the main point of putting these short clips on Instagram, on Snapchat, on Twitter, is to get the message across of your brand within 10 seconds. You need to let people know what your brand is within 10 seconds, because we're in a world that people want information like that. If it's not like that, then people are turned off. So, and you've lost that customer. That customer could have made or broke your app, made or broke your app. So you need to target every customer as best as possible. And the best way, I'm telling you from my personal experience, create a long contextual bit of content and then take small bits of content out of that to tell the message quickly, and then use influencer marketing, target particular influencers, target particular pages that hold that core demographic within your market, and put those short form bits of content on those pages and allow traffic to naturally come on your page, and let people, if your app is that good, if your app will actually solve a problem to actually help people out, then people will naturally see that video on the influencers page. They'll go to your profile to see more of what you guys do. Once they like what you guys do on your profile, they'll go to the long form bit of content. They'll watch it out. If it's really intriguing, they'll watch out the whole long form bit of content, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, 5 minutes, however long it is, they'll watch it. And if they are intrigued after that 50-minute long exchange, trying to find out more about you guys, see how it can solve your issue, they will download your app and they'll actively use it. That's what I'm saying. So in relation back to Sega, what Sega should do as far as getting a new game out is they should make contextual content, people playing the game or moments in that game that allow for people to react in a certain way, whether that be positive, whether that be negative, whether that be funny, whether that be sad. They should take out bits of that game and put it on Instagram as short form bits of content, then use. And I know, like, listen, Sega's got a big budget, so they can blow money on the big boys, isn't it? But the only thing with the big boys, when I say big boys, the big influencers, like Ninja, you have your streamers, you have your YouTubers, you have those type of people. You can blow the money on the big bucks, and you might get downloads. You might get downloads, but the issue with these big guys, right? There's no, like, oh, you're gonna crack my neck. The one issue I find, not the issue, it's not even an issue, I'm saying issue, one drawback I find with promoting on these bigger pages is that the pages of these bigger the followers of these bigger pages are not as sensitive to ads anymore. They'll see an ad and they'll most likely dodge it. They'll dodge it straight away because these people have advertised and monetized their audience so much with the amount of branded content they put out on a daily, weekly, monthly basis that the audiences would unless your app is so revolutionary, right? Unless your game is so revolutionary that these people won't even bat an eyelid at what you could be promoting. People will download it, but not as much as you would think. Depending on if someone's got 20 million follower fan base, 10 million follower fan base, 1 million follower fan base, the fraction will be that small because this audience has been advertised to so much that they are just like, it's just not going to phase them. So you need to target audience, a set demographic of people that have not been advertised too much, and that's where I would use micro influencers. When I say micro influencers, I'm not talking about people with millions of followers. I'm talking about people with tens of thousands of followers, thousands of followers, hundreds of followers, because this core demographic of people have not been touched. You have not advertised your product or a game. They have not been shown a particular piece of information on a multiple basis for them to be so oblivious to anything new that comes to them. So I recommend you have that short form of content. Sega, you contact 30 to 100 micro influencers that, like, whether that be small gamers that are trying to come up in the game, or you target particular meme pages that that have like retro fans that really like Sega, or you put out content on Facebook groups. There's so many groups on Facebook that have retro core followings or hardcore gaming followings that are like 5,000 person groups, 10,000 person groups, 100,000 person groups that have that core demographic there, but they are untouched because no other big brand, no other big businesses wants to talk to them as far as a brand deal or as far as advertising with them. No one wants to do that. And if you guys tap into that market quickly at scale, I'm telling you guys, I will be surprised if you guys don't break $1 million in sales within the first year or within the first 6 months with your business. You know what I'm saying? You know, you could probably break $1 million in a month. You know what I'm saying? You could probably break $1 million in sales or in downloads or revenue in a month if you do it like that at scale, especially with the backing, with the history that Sega have. And there's a lot of dependent factors. I'm not saying every business that does this. I'm not saying every business that does this model or follows this blueprint is gonna get $1 million in a month or $1 million in a year. I might not even get $1 million in a year, and I'm following this blueprint. This is very depending upon the business, and it also depends upon how good your service is, how good the game is. If the game is fire, I'm just giving off the best case scenario. If the game is fire, if the targeting is fire, but they don't know how to market it, they don't know how to put the content across, they don't know where to put the content or distribute it, and they follow that model, I'll be surprised if it doesn't work. I'll be really, really, really surprised if it doesn't work. So that's my take on it, guys. That's what I think Sega should do as far as if they had a new game, if they wanted to break out in 2019 with a new game and really challenge the gaming market these days, as far as, you know, Sega, wow, you know what, first of all, if they released a game, everyone will be talking about it. They have not released anything in flipping 18 years, so anything they release is going to get talked about anyways. And if they release something that's good, that's fire, that catches people's attention, I mean, it's a wrap, man. RIP to Fortnite, RIP to Apex Legends. That's what everyone's going to be playing if that's the case, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's my take, that's my hot take on Sega, on what they should do as far as branding if they were to come back on the gaming scene and the gaming industry. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. You know, I love doing these deep dives, man. It really gets my brain going. But if you like what you see, make sure you subscribe, like, share, and turn on the bell notification icon to be notified whenever I have a new upload. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Peace.